I said maybe he got the AM and PMs messed up.
Maybe what?
He got the AMs and PMs messed up.
Big deal.
What do you call it? What are we doing tomorrow? What time is the tomorrow's Shifrako's last early Shabbos?
Oh yeah.
So we did 5:40 last week, right? So I guess 10 minutes earlier.
5:30.
A little earlier.
I don't know. Isn't it 10 minutes
What time in
earlier?
the minyanim?
I'm doing middle 6:45.
What about?
Plug of it 6:13.
We're doing the second plug. I'm gonna run plug.
Well, not everybody's as smart as you.
Listen, I know that. I just want to make sure everybody else knows that.
Very few people are Rav and president,
Right.
I mean, and also dying. You're also the dying.
It's true. Yeah.
Yes, it's real. He's really
Plug is
sick.
6:13.
Really strict, but why do you think he hates you?
So we got to do earlier than that.
Okay.
Well, we were saying 5:30, but I'm just saying, is anyone actually doing the real plug?
Oh, that's a good question. Is anybody
What-
making
If
an early
Aaron
Shabbos?
Kaplan is doing 6:45, so
We're-
who's doing early? Who's doing regular plug?
If you're interested, I don't do whatever you do. Rabbi Blumenkirch is davening mincha 6:10 tomorrow.
Is that what you
That's
going
right.
about?
That's right.
I'm saying if we do 5:30, is that 5:30, or you got to do earlier?
No, not earlier. 5:30.
5:30 should be fine. Okay, so 5:30.
Because Aaron also you daven mincha early usually.
Not
Even if we go over.
sometimes.
Okay.
Twice in the past 9 months, I davened with the first minyan.
Sure, it wasn't 3
So
times.
not really.
Just twice.
You always ask me the time.
So what?
Okay, I made the assumption.
I'm just building
You're
up my
asking me going.
alibi. I'm just building up my alibi.
He likes to schmooze with you.
Very
He
good.
likes to schmooze with you.
Yeah, and Shir Shabbos Day Chinuch will be, what time is Shkia? 7:35 around?
I'll tell you in a second.
Jesse's got to be very excited.
7:37 is.
I have
Shir.
no idea what you're talking about.
Jacob, what year is that?
7:34 on
That's
Shabbos is Shir.
Sefer HaChinuch. We have Sefer HaChinuch in my mother's house usually. This week
Zoom?
will probably be in my house, but so what's your time? 7 what?
7:34 on Shabbos is Shkia.
Okay, so we'll do Shir at 6:15. 6:15, 6:20. We'll do Shir. I'm assuming we'll
Okay,
make a
I'll
minute
spread the
afterwards.
word.
We'll
What,
make a
what
minute
time
after.
tomorrow? What time?
Tomorrow,
you have
5:30, 4:30 Central Time. 4:30 Central Time.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
And what time is Shabbos day?
6:15, 6:20.
Are we
Once
discussing
we're doing
Motzei
that,
Shabbos
what
now?
time is Motzei
We gotta have to
Shabbos?
send you the whole schedule, man.
Okay.
We're definitely going to get
Motzei-
mixed up on something.
Motzei Shabbos will do 9 o'clock. Yes,
Ooh,
9 o'clock
nice.
Motzei Shabbos.
Rabara, we can
Oh.
get into 9:30 at the Cineplex.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'll see you on YouTube.
And if you call ahead, you can get have a Chicago slice waiting for you.
Very
Right
good.
before Slichas.
Oh, maybe we should start to do is
Before Slichas, we
Yeah,
used to
can
go
you do it
both.
later? Before
Uncle
Slichas?
David, in the old days, people
We
went
do
bowling
Slichas in the
before
morning.
Slichas.
We do
Mama
stickers
doesn't
in the morning. I've totally liner.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I would vote for pre-Slichas. I haven't heard a Motzei Shabbos Shir live in a few months. So
I hear. So whatever the island wants, but
One
pre
second.
slichas for
One
most of
second.
the
Icky, your pre-slichas is our pre-vasikin.
what? As long as it's after Shabbos by me, I'll take it. I'm not gonna get picky.
yeah. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so Kamaseu B'chol. Right, so we're up to the bottom of Mem Tes Amud Beis. Yeah. So this next Amud is, well, no, this first Amud's not bad. Where's Peretz? We got to make a seam. He's got the schnapps ready.
That you don't have to worry about.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
not worried about.
Don't worry about it.
Tiago, I had PTA tonight, so I already started a little before the CM. Got to go listen to Rabbeim. Trust me, it makes it a lot easier when you have a couple of Chaims inside you. But
I hear.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the CM.
Okay,
Harris,
good.
PTA school just started. Only your kids have PTA tonight.
No, my kids also did. I just didn't go. It was the
By the way, it's not
introducing-
PTA, it's
Orientation.
orientation. That's all.
Parrots, maybe this was PTA from last year.
I only go to school functions that I could spell. An orientation is a little too long for me, so I'm out. Okay, so Kemaseu B'chol. Yeah, so we're saying that the same way they did it on Chol, so is they did it on Shabbos too. And the Simchas Beis Hoshoiva, well, not the Simchas Beis Hoshoiva, the water drawing took place on Shabbos the same way they did it on Chol, except that they filled up the water from before. Right? That's what the Mishnah says. They filled up the water from before Shabbos, obviously, but they put it into gold utensils, but not utensils that had kedusha to it. Meaning this any utensil that's in the Beis Hamikdash had kedusha, right? But this one they dafka did not use kelim that had kedusha. Now the big nafkamina and the big difference if you use a kli that has kedusha is that it's anything overnight. If it's left overnight, it's going to make it puzzle. Like if there's meat or skins or whatever, anything that's in a clay shares, it's called, is going to become puzzle belina if it stays overnight. Which means that you really couldn't do it in this kli. But that's what the Gemara is going to discuss a few different pshatim. So v'amai neisiv mekudeshes. Why don't you bring it in a kli that's mekudesh? Why do you have to dafka bring it in a kli that's not mekudesh? Right? So Amar Ziri Kasavar ain't shir lamayim. So Ziri says that there's no measurement for the amount of water, meaning it's 3 lug, but you can go as many. But you can do as much water as you want to pour onto the mizbeh, right? We said that it's a machlokes whether it's 3 lug or 1 lug. So you could do. There's no maximum shear. So since there's no maximum shear, therefore it doesn't need to become a kli sharis. So kli sharis mekachin shalem midas. And if you were to use a kli sharis, meaning a kli that had kedusha to it, then it's going to automatically make the water or whatever's in it kodesh, right? So then, and on top of Aleph, and if they would bring the water in a kli that's mekudesh, if slulo belina, it's going to become puzzled because it stayed overnight until Shabbos morning. Then it's going to become puzzled. So therefore, they could not bring it with kli sharis. That's one pshat. Chizki Omar kli sharis ein mekachin elam bidas. A kli sharis is not an automatic making the water kodesh. In which case you could put the water into the kli sharis, and then it's not going to automatically become holy. And there's a gezerah, perhaps they're going to say that it became kadosh midas. Fine. So Amar Rav Yana, Amar Rav, that's
Why
the.
wasn't
Go ahead.
Why wasn't the guy worried about that by lulav and esrog?
No, so that's what I mean. Because why can't you pick up the lulav and esrog without having in mind to be yaitza? That's what you're saying.
That's what we said the guy did.
All right.
So if I saw the guy do that, and then he made a bracha after, so I would think that's what you're supposed to do: make a bracha after you pick up the lulav and esrog. It wouldn't enter my das to have anything to do about das. That's for sure.
Right. So, but here it's going to be. Here it's a little different because here what's going to happen is somebody watching this whole thing is going to say, oh, so Nesachim don't have a psolina. Not knowing, because it's in a kli sharis.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So there's a marasayin. So why wasn't the guy worried?
I'm saying, but what's going to happen with the lulav and esrog? The worst that's going to happen is what? That he's never going to be yaitza.
People think you make the bracha after you pick it up.
What do you mean? According to the guy, you are going to make the bracha after you pick it up.
Because he had das not to be yaitza. Who else does that?
You mean according to the guy, people are going to end up making that mistake?
Yeah.
I hear. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I don't know. I'm not sure. I hear. Okay, let's see. That's the second shot. And you could even say that there's a measurement for water, in which case you could put it into the kli shares. Ukli shares ain't makachin elam bidas. And the kli shares is not mekadosh only with das. Meaning the only way it's going to become kaddish is if it has das. maybe people are going to think that the reason why he filled up the water was not to pour onto the mizbeach for the nisuch hamayim. They're going to think that they did it from the water from the Kohen Gadol, right? It's right after Yom Kippur, so they're going to think that maybe this is from the water that they filled up for the Kohen Gadol to wash his hands and his feet, all right? And then they're going to think it's kaddish, and then they're going to again think the same thing, that you don't need to make the nisuch hamayim into any sort of kedusha.
It's 6-7 days after Yom. What do they think about the Kohen Gadol?
Where is that?
What?
It's 6-7 days after Yom HaKodesh.
Yes,
What do they think
yeah.
about the Kohen Gadol?
For some reason, they're going to think that this is like the leftover from the Kohen Gadol, from the Kohen Gadol's hands and wash his hands and feet. Yeah, that's what it's saying. Right?
Is there an addendum to that they're going to think that it's already possible, Lena?
That what?
If it's from the Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim of the Kohen Gadol Yom Kippur, it's already possible, Belina.
Who's that? Where is that?
I mean, why would they think that it is? Because it's possible belino.
Unless that's part of it. They think that they're using possible Belina water to do the Nisuch HaMayim.
Yeah, but but maybe that's not considered an avoda and it's not a problem. The Kohen Gadol washing his hands and feet, maybe that's not. It's gonna.
That has to be Dumya Lakir. We have same dinam as the Kir. The Kir water is possible Belina.
Right. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Oh, that is the end of Rashi. The last 3 words. I didn't read it right.
Which Rashi?
That's why we just do Daf Yomi, not Daf Yomi with Rashi, Gersh.
I'm using Rashi to help, not the other way around. Rashi says, when the Raya
Right,
sees,
so they're going to think that Lina is not possible. Yeah, but that's also Nesachim. But why was it Taka not possible? Why would they think that it shouldn't be possible from before that?
It is possible. It's possible for Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim. That's why they're using it for the Nesachim. He's going to say that's why they're using it for the Nesachim. They're going to think it's only Solina for Nesachim, for the washing the hands and feet, and not for the Nesachim. Not for Nesachim. Yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't learn it like that. I didn't. Okay, I hear.
I didn't either the first time round, but now it looks like that's what I'm saying.
That's very good. I hear. Very good.
So Mamisha's Baron's kasha is now a good kasha. I mean, it's a real kasha. Rashi's turned this into a Maris Ayin now. This Gzeira.
I don't know if it's called exactly a Maris Ayin.
Chazi Amar Ainli Novelis Masad. That's Mamish Maris Ayin. That's
right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. So this is not an easy Gemara to understand, but basically, the whole conversation is based on why they're not using a klisharis is based on the two. Well, there's 3 variables that the Gemara goes through in the teretz. It's, do you hold that there's a measurement for the maximum amount of water you could use to pour on the mizbeach, and do we say that klisharis are an automatic kedusha? Right. So there's 3 options. Either you could say both, neither, or one and not the other. And therefore, that's going to be telling why it is that there's why it is that we don't use the klisharis. Okay, let's see that. The nishbecha in this gausa. So we said if the water gets spilled out, or if it's gilui, meaning it's left open, then you're not allowed to use it to pour on the mizbeach. Vamai. So Gemara asks, li'avar b'mesanenes. Why don't you put it through a filter? Right. So Rashi says it's he says collier. I don't know if that's where chlorine comes from. I'm not sure. Right? Misanenes, Rashi says you put in conditin. Right? We were discussing that this morning in Shabbos. Yeah. So you're filtering it through, and it's going to keep out the snake venom. Again, I should have said this before. That what's the problem with leaving out liquids, wine and water? Yes, right. Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm not in my mother's house, so there's no air conditioning on in there, so I stayed in my own house. But I guess we're gonna have to change that. But anyway, so why don't you? So the reason why gilu is a problem because a snake may eat it, put some venom in there. So he says, so why not filter out and use it? So lema masnis and the like Reb Nechemia. So let's say our Mishnah is not like Reb Nechemia. The Ketanya misanenes yesh ba mishum gilu. If you have a filter, it still has gilui. That's the first shita, that would be our Mishnah would fit into that shita. And our Reb Nechemia says, when is there gilui? That's when the bottom of the filter is open. But when the bottom one is covered, even though the top one is megula, there's no gilui. Mental, please. Because the venom of a snake is like similar to a sponge that floats to the top. So basically, the way I understand it is that this type of filter looks like an hourglass, right? You have a glass on the top, glass on the bottom, right? And then you pour the wine through whatever it is that's going to filter out the snake venom. So Reb Nechemia says that if the bottom is megula, so then that's going to have a problem of gilu. But if the top is megula, where the wine was, and then it filters down to the bottom, then it's no problem. So clearly, according to him, if you filter it through, then it works. So since our Mishnah does not offer you that option, must be our Mishnah is not like Reb Nechemia. Yeah. So again, it's a machlokes whether you could filter or not. Our Mishnah is clearly going with the opinions that say you can't filter it. Saying more answers, afilu temer Reb Nechemia. You can even say it's going to Reb Nechemia who says that a filter would work. When Reb Nechemia says that you can filter the wine or the water from the snake venom, that's if it's for a hedged, meaning for us humans, then it makes it drinkable. But for the Beis Hamikdash, did he say it? Why? Because the Leslie Reb Nechemia does Reb Nechemia not hold of this pasuk that's called Hakriveu Nolav Hachescha Hayirtzecha Hayisa Panecha Omer Hashem Tzvakos, right? Meaning, which is Hakriveu No. You could be makriv it if you want. Lefachescha means to the person in charge. Yeah, is he going to be happy with you? Says Hashem Tzvakos, meaning if you're going to give junky gifts to the person in charge, he's not going to be happy, right? He's not going to be happy. So you can't be giving things to the Rebbeinu Shalom that are not chashuv. So even though you may have filtered it out, but it's not, you wouldn't give this to somebody chashuv. So if you're not going to give it to somebody chashuv, would you give it to Hashem? Meaning by pouring it onto the mizbeach, would you really give it to Hashem? You're not going to give it to Hashem. So like that. So therefore, even Reb Nechemia would say that even though the filtering works for humans, it's not going to work for the Beis Hamikdash, right? Because we're more machmer. This is why gilui, right? So could we drink gilui wine nowadays? So we drink gilui wine nowadays, unless you live in an area where there are snakes that are poisonous, in which case then you don't, right? But Lamaisa, in most places, I don't know how it would work in Phoenix, Taka, right? But in most places, we're going to drink it. However, if you left the wine open, then you should not use it for kiddush, right? Because for kiddush, it's considered something chashuv, and therefore, just like for the mizbeach, we're saying not to use wine that was left open. So therefore, you should not use wine for kiddush either that was left open. Now, left open, by the way, is a few seconds. Is the measurement? This measurement is a few seconds, right? Rashi brings here that the measurement is that for the snake to be hiding under the handle of the pot, and it could sneak into the pot, take it out, and go put some venom and right back. It's really not that long. So if you go pour wine and then everybody leaves the room for a minute, right? Let's say it's not that many people eating the Suda. You pour the wine and then you say, oh, we got to go into the kitchen and get some challah, get this, and everybody leaves the room, and then you go hack around the kitchen for a few minutes, then really you should not use that wine for kiddush, because it's considered, it's a pagam, but you're doing the kiddush for Hashem, so therefore don't do that. It's an interesting thing that comes out from this Gemara. Yeah, fine. Okay, so hadran alach lulav va'arava. L'chaim to all those that are making l'chaim, and to all those that are not making l'chaim.
L'chaim parrots.
L'chaim.
L'chaim twice, Gershon.
Amen. Yeah, that's right. Don't give the schnapps. Not at least.
Gershon made two, one for his kid, one for him.
Yeah, orange juice. Oh, l'chaim. Okay, weiter. Next, החליל, chamisha v'shisha. So a flute was taken on 5 and 6 days. Zeu החליל של Beis Hoshoiva. This is the Khalil of the simplest Beis Hoshoiva. She'ein doich lo yaseh Shabbos v'lo yaseh Yom Tov. It's not doich, not Shabbos, and not Yom Tov. Meaning, the Khalil, the simplest Beis Hoshoiva, we already said, is not done on Shabbos, right? So why is it 5 or 6 days? It should be the set amount. So what the Mishnah ends up saying is that the reason is because we don't do the Khalil on Yom Tov either, right? So when Yom Tov falls out on Shabbos, right? So this meaning on a normal sukkah, when Yom Tov is not on Shabbos, like this year, let's say, so you can only end up taking it 5 days because you have 7 days minus 1 for Shabbos, minus 1 for Yom Tov. But when Shabbos falls out on Yom Tov, so now it's only minus 1 day. You're going to have 6 days, right? So that's what the Mishnah means.
What's the Havamina? What's the Havamina that I think it's not muksa? Why does Mishnah tell us it's that you can't use it? It's muksa.
No, so that's going to be the we play the musical instruments. If it's a mitzvah, you got to play it, which is really what the substance of the Gemara is going to be on the base.
Didn't they have something by Levias also? They would play.
They played, Michael. Yeah. They played.
Go ahead.
The instruments are not muksa on Yom Tov. They played it by the korban tamid. That's what the Gemara is going to tell you.
But what? No, I'm saying, why don't we have shemi sak and clay shear?
The Gemara is going to tell you. No.
Right. So that's
we said it the whole week by shofar. You're saying it doesn't apply shemi sak and clay shear. A Khalil it should apply, no?
What?
Right, we said last week shemi sak and clay shear.
Ain't shvus b'migdash.
Oh, so Taisus mamish. This shakavataya is the bottom Taisus.
Hold on, does it matter that the chiyuv is only on who? To the Khalil? Isn't it only on the Levium?
Oh, so that's all the Gemara. That's all going to be in the upcoming Gemara. It's very good. So Taisus asks, right? The only reason why a flute is shemi yisak and klishir, right? And we know ain't shvus b'mikdash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rashi, so Taisus answers, yeah, but it's ain't shvus b'mikdash for things that are necessary. The Khalil is just to add extra simcha. Extra simcha, that's not enough to be doichenis to the Rabbanan Beis Hamikdash. Stuff that was very necessary. What?
It's so ironic that on the one hand they played by Levias to be ma'ira the tsar, and here
and then also for the simcha. Correct. Well, obviously, I'm assuming they're playing different nigunim.
No, of course. I'm just saying it's just interesting that the same instrument could be used.
Well, that's the beauty of music. So Yaakov, so you said the issa of Gilui is only in a place that has poisonous snakes, right? So why don't you have the issa of instruments only in a place where people know how to fix instruments? I couldn't fix a guitar. I don't know how to fix a guitar.
Right. So enochanami. So the truth is, this sugya, what you're asking, gets into the whole deal with clapping. So one of them, Farshim say, and I think it's a Taisus in Be'er, that the reason why you're allowed to clap and make noise like that is because nowadays there should be no tikkun, there should be no shemi yisak and klei, because lamaisa we don't fix musical instruments, but it's not enough to take away the gezerah, but it would be enough to be matter clapping and dancing and all that. Yeah.
And that's where the backwards clapping comes from.
What?
That's where the backwards clapping comes from.
The backwards clapping don't go with this teretz. The ones that clap regularly go with this teretz and say that clapping is a gezerah otu instruments, and really instruments we don't fix nowadays. We can't fix nowadays anyway. So why should we make a double chumrah? So I'll at least be matter clapping. The ones that clap backwards don't like this teretz, don't go with this teretz. But Be'ez Hashem and Beya, what's next? Rosh Hashanah or Beya?
Yeah.
Beya is next, so Be'ez Hashem, not too far off. We'll be doing the sugya. So I think it's towards the beginning of Beya. Okay, so let's see the Gemara. So on to Amud Beis. Zog the Gemara. Itmar Rav Yehuda v'Rav Eina. Chatani she'eva v'chatani chashuva. One said it's called Simchas Beis She'eva, and one is called Simchas Beis Chashuva, meaning it's the chashuv thing. Omar Zutra mandatani she'eva loy mishtavish. The one who said that it's called she'eva, drawing, like picking out the water, taking out the water, is not messed up. Mandatani chashuva loy mishtavish is not messed up. Mandatani she'eva loy mishtavish tifsiu sh'afte mayim b'sasayin. You should draw water with happiness. So you see, sh'aftem is simchas beis hasha'eva, simcha together with she'eva. Mandatani chashuva loy mishtavish. One that says it's chashuv is not mishtavish. Tomar Rav Nachman mitzvah chashuva uba misheish yimei bereishis. It's a mitzvah chashuva and it comes from sheish yimei bereishis. Anybody does this? Song of the Daf. Song of the Daf. That's correct. Right.
Rabbi Caroline said it was a song that later became a pasuk.
Yeah, very good. Right, but here's the thing. The first one, it says that the Gemara is saying they're both not messed up. They both have sources, right? The first one brings a pasuk. The second one just brings what? Rav Nachman said something. This is Gershon. This is my shimush from Gershon to ask Azakash. Right? That this is right. One is a pasuk and one is an amayra that said something over. Well, how can you compare the two? Right? Which is I maybe
when the Amira's Torah Shabbat Pet, so you could compare. Why can't you compare?
Wait, one is a pasuk.
No.
One is a pasuk. I'm just saying, one is a pasuk, one is a amayra, which could be.
Yaakov, who are you going to go to for a shir? Somebody who tells you over a pasuk from Navi or the brisker Rav to hear his svara. Who are you
100%.
So
100%. But that's just because I don't like we learned in yesterday's stuff. I don't learn Torah Lishma, so that's why I'm going to the brisker Rav. Right? If I was learning Torah Lishma, Mustam, I would spend more time learning Tanakh. Yes. As Chatoy Ani Maskir Hayoim, 100%. But
why? I'm just why it's less enjoyable.
What Tanakh?
Why I'm saying why would you learn? Why is that considered the Shema?
What to learn Tanakh? No,
for you. Why is that considered the Shema?
Because it's less gishmak, and I need to know la. I never learn nach. Every time we bring a pasuk, it's like as if I know anything. I'm not saying I know anything from anything else, but the psukim I certainly don't know.
Rabbi Raza said, I don't know if you heard him, Rabbi Raza said that he says that the ikr, I forgot who brings it down from, I think the Hakdama to the, I forgot what, says that the ikr lishma is learning besimcha. If you're not learning, because people think if you're fetching it out, it's lishma. Goes,
yeah, that's a famous thing. The egleital,
right? Egleital.
In the Hakdama, the egleital and the Hakdama, it's a fascinating piece. Yes, that he says part of the mitzvah of Torah is to be happy. If you're not, it's not. It's not in this thing. But either way, I just wonder if that's why we talk called Simchas Beis Hoshoiva. The mice of Simchas Beis Hoshoiva won out. Right? We don't. Have you ever heard anybody call it Simchas Beis Chashuva? So it's Simchas Beis Hoshoiva, which is based on the pasuk. Okay, I don't know. So Tana Rabbanan. Now we have this next Gemara takes us for the next blot. Okay, so Tana Rabbanan HaChalil Doiche es Shabbos. The Chalil is Doiche Shabbos. Divrei Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda. Right? Chachamim af Yom Tov ain't a Doiche. And Chachamim say even Yom Tov is not Doiche. So it's important for us for today's daf and tomorrow's daf to understand the basic of this Machlokes. It says that the Chalil is Doiche Shabbos according to Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda. Chachamim say even Yom Tov, it's not doicha. Okay, so meaning it's just your machlok. Do they play music in the Beis Hamikdash or not on Shabbos and Yom Tov? One shita says yes. Tanakama says it is doicha, and Rabbi Yosef Yehuda says it's not doicha. Now, I'm sorry. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda says it's doicha. Chachamim say it is not doicha. So it's going to be a machlokes. Which type of music is this talking about? Excuse me. Is this talking about the music for the korbanos, because every korban had music, or is it the simplest Beis Hoshoiva?
Can I ask you a question? When they gave korbanos, I'm sorry to interrupt. When they gave korbanos, how did they light the carbon?
No, that's anything that was required for the korban was doicha Shabbos.
Now, I
That's
understand,
no
but I'm saying,
problem.
did they take it from a pre-existing flame or they
No,
lit
I
it
don't
back?
think
Michael,
first of all,
match.
they did.
Michael, they
did.
only brought the carbon sib on Shabbos. You didn't bring a carbon. Only the Tamidim they brought Shabbos.
I understand, but the
Only
point is,
Chiyuvim.
they had it. It was
No,
smoking.
there was the ner tamid. There was the ner tamid that was always on the base on the mizbeach. Right, very good, Rabban. Right, so there was
Took
it
from
was
that,
always
it
there.
was a pre-existing flame, and they just lit it.
Pre-existing
on
flame is
Shabbos.
only negated to Yom Tov. Pre-existing flame is not an issue for Shabbos. Only for Yom Tov.
I
For
understand,
Shabbos,
but
once you're
it's-
being Machal Shabbos, be Machal Shabbos.
But is that Machal Shabbos? So that was part of the Avoda. So
No, it's part of Avoda, right? Exactly. So it's Daicha, but only korbanos tzibur, not korbanos yachid. Right. So now the Gemara is going to explain. So Amar of Yosef, Machlokes b'shir shel korban. Their whole Machlokes is by the music that they played for korbanos. Right. The Rabbi Yosef savar ikar shira bekli. Says the lamdish Machlokes. He held that what you got to play music for the korbanos, but is it the voice, which is mutter on Shabbos? Was that the ikar, or is it the musical instruments, which is more of an issue on Shabbos, right? Va'avodahi, so he's saying ikar shira is bekli. The ikar shira is the musical instruments, va'avodahi, and that's part of the avoda. Since you need to play music and it's musical instruments, it's an essential part of the avoda. B'daiches Shabbos, and it's daiches Shabbos, no different than lighting the fire to burn the korbanos. For Rabbanan Savri, no, ikar shira is bepeh. The main shira is the singing, not the music. V'lav avodahi, memela, the music, the instrument is not an avoda. And then ain't a daicha Shabbos. It's not daicha Shabbos, right? So their machlokes is whether it's like a double machlokes. The first machlokes is what's the ikar? Is the ikar the voice or the ikar the instrument? So if you hold that the ikar is the instrument, then the instrument's for sure daicha Shabbos. If you say the ikar is the voice, then the voice is not a problem on Shabbos. Only the instrument. Since it's not the ikar, you wouldn't play on Shabbos. That's the machlokes by Shabbos. Aval shir shayeva. But the music of the Simchas Beis Hoshoiva, Divrei Hakol Simchahi, everybody holds it's just Simcha, it's not Avoda, and therefore it's not Shabbos. So they're saying, Rabbi Yosef is saying that the Machlokes is only Negeya to Shabbos and to Yom Tov. But Simchas Beis Hoshoiva, all opinions say no go on Shabbos, which is what our Mishna paskins like, right? So Amar Rabbi Yosef Mina Amina. How do I know? How do I know that this is the Machlokes? Mina Amina the Baha Pligi, that this is the Machlokes. Meaning whether the ikar is the music of the voice or is it the music of the instruments. The Tanya, because we learned in the Brisa, kli sharis shasan shel eitz. If you have a kli sharis, and a kli sharis is supposed to be made out of gold, silver, whatever it is, not made out of wood. So let's say somebody made a kli sharis, let's say the spoons or the pots, whatever they need, he made it out of wood. Rebbe Paisel, Rebbe Yosef Rebbe Yehuda Masha. Rebbe says it's pasul, and Rebbe Yosef Rebbe Yehuda says it's kosher. What's their machlokes? My lab, what are they disagreeing about? Man the mashir, the one who says that it's kosher to have kli sharis in the Beis Hamikdash made out of wood, savar ikar shira v'kli. He holds that the main instrument, the main shira, the main voice, the main music in the Beis Hamikdash is with a utensil. V'yafina me'abuva de Moshe, and we learn it out from the instrument that Moshe Rabbeinu made, because he made it out of wood, right? And so Moshe, you see, Moshe had an instrument made out of wood. So Uman the Pasuk, so the one that says it's kosher is the ikar shira is with a kli, and the Moshe's was made out of wood. So Mela were also allowed to make wood. Uman the Pasuk savar ikar shira bepeh. The one that says it's Pasuk says that the ikar music in the Beis Hamikdash was with the peh. For lo yafina mavu with the Moshe, and we don't learn that from Moshe's musical instrument, and therefore wooden instruments are not acceptable. But the point is that you see that the machlokes is whether music with the instruments is essential or not, right? So if you hold it's essential, then even wood would work. If you hold it's not essential, then wood would not work. Yeah. So that's the first way.
What exactly is this Havamina here? Is this like a Gzeira Shava, Shira meaning singing, and Shira meaning Sherus, Avoda?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
What's going on? What's the Hava? What does this mean?
I'm not sure what you're asking. That's
what flute did Moshe Rabbeinu make?
Some sort of flute made out of wood.
Right. So we learned from there that the flute is allowed to be wood.
Yes.
Why?
If you hold the Ikar Shir is Bekli, because then Moshe used it. If Moshe didn't have to have it in the Beis Hamikdash, if you didn't have to have Kli and he decided to make a Kli and a flute made out of wood, okay, so he made it, but it's not the Ikar, so you can't learn out that a wood utensil works. But if you hold that you had to have a wood, music, and Moshe made it out of wood, so then you see that you can make it out of wood. Right? I think that's the pshat. So then when it says Lloyd, no, the Kuli Ame Ikar Shira Bekli. Everybody holds the Ikar Shiras with Kli. Do we darshan a situation where it's possible to do something? Do you learn it out from a scenario where it was impossible? Right? Meaning, we've had this a few times where they wanted to bring a raya from, oh, you remember they did it this way. They said, no, that was Shas Sakana. Right? And which clearly the Gemara is saying you can't learn out from Shas Sakana because they had no choice. So here too, Moshe Rabbeinu had no choice. He couldn't make a metal flute. Right? He had to make it out of wood. So can we learn out? But Moshe didn't have a choice. So could we say now that we have the technology, let's say, to make metal, that memela we can learn out from Moshe that he could have wood? Because Moshe did it, Moshe had no choice. We have a choice. Right? That's the Machlokes. Can you learn out like that? Like the Kuli Ame Ikar Shira Bekli. Everybody holds that you have to, the song, the music in the Beis Hamikdash is with the utensils. The whole Machlokes is whether we darshan something that has the ability to be changed from a scenario where you don't have the ability. The one that says that wood utensils are kosher, savar done in efsher, efsher. You can darshan out a time that it's possible to make metal from a place where it was not possible. Uman the puzzle savar loy done in efsher, efsher. And the one that says it's puzzle says we don't done the efsher from a efsher. Okay, so that's one way of learning it. So that's really the second way of learning the Machlokes. If anybody is saying more, we could say no, the Kuli Alma. And now we get into heavy Rabbi Shmuel Omer, for those that get to shul early enough, had a darshan, right? The Yud Gimel Midas have had a darshan. Yeah.
What's Rabbi Shmuel Omer? I'm just joking.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what you say that's what the shul says when you're putting on your tefillin.
Perek is going to tell us what that is.
Right. Anyways.
No, the show says that you should usher when you bring on your tefillin.
Yeah, but anyway, so there's two types of learning. There's klal, uprat, uklal, which is that the Torah says a rule, then it gives you a specific example, and then it goes back and says another rule. That's one way of darshaning. Another way of darshaning is ribui. It's coming to include everything. Then miyat, it excludes some, and then it includes more. Right? So the klal uprat klal is much more specific. You learn that way, it's much more specific to whatever is in the prat. If you learn ribui, miyat ribui, then it's much more broad. So there's two ways of darshaning it. So we're going to have a machlokes here, which way to darshan. Everybody holds the other way. The main music in the Beis Hamikdash was with the mouth. And we don't learn out efsher from efsher. So then what's the machlokes? Whether we learn out that the menorah, what it should be made out of, do we learn it out as a klal uprat or a riboy and miyut? So how does this go? Rebbe darish klal uprati. Rebbe darshans out klal uprat. What does this mean? Rebbe darish klal uprati. He says klal uprat. Vasisa menorah klal. It says make a menorah. It doesn't say what it should be made out of. It just says make a menorah. Zahav tahar, pure gold, is a prat. Now it sounds like the menorah should only be made out of pure gold. Miksha tasa menorah. You should make it. Miksha means like hard or smashed. You should make the menorah. Doesn't say made out of what? Chazer v'klal. So now we have a rule, a specific that it should be gold, and then another rule. Klalu pratu klal.
One second. It's one sentence. The Torah is telling you to make the menorah out of gold and one piece.
No, it says make a menorah, comma, out of gold, and then fashion.
But it's one sentence. It's not in different places. It's one sentence.
Correct. It's one sentence. But it should have said. I guess it should have said.
How else could it have said it?
What?
How else could it have said it?
Maybe vasisa
Make a menorah out of gold.
Maybe take gold and make a
Liner,
menorah.
let him finish, as I quote.
Take gold and make a menorah. Could have said it that way. No? Here it's saying make a menorah.
The second tasa is extra. It says asiya twice.
That's
asiya is
but even in the first. Listen, there's a rule with this stuff. It's very difficult to understand when they're darshaning which way and the other way. But whatever, let's just make sure we understand it. So the klal is make a menorah. Prat is gold. And the last thing is miksha, right? So iyatadan elakain a prat. So when we have a klal, you only go with the prat. Ma prat mafurish mateches. This part I mamish don't understand, right? The prat means it says metal. Afkol shom mateches. It has to be made out of metal. What do you mean? It should be made out of gold. Why not?
Every klal of prat is ka'ana prat, not the same as the prat.
But why? That's what I'm asking. Why?
Oh, why in every klal of prat to klal?
I'm saying
because the klal adds something to it. The klal adds to the prat.
That's okay, but where do you draw the line?
I thought it's opposite.
You got it.
I thought the klal is subsumed under the prat. I thought the prat.
No,
then the
klal would include everything. The prat knocks it down a little bit, but it knocks it down to ka'en ha'prat, not the prat itself. Otherwise, you wouldn't need the klal in it all.
Yeah. Okay, but the question is where you draw the line. That's already, I guess, up to the chachamim, exactly where you draw the line.
There's a thesis about that compares it to daya a little bit.
Okay, so then let's see that's what. And Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Darish ribuy miyute. He says it's a ribuy and a miyut. Vasisa menorah riba. It says you make a menorah, that's an inclusion, right? That says take any type. Zahav tar miyut. That excludes, right? Miksha tasa menorah. Then it says make the menorah chazav riba. It comes and makes an exclusion. Riba, inclusion. Riba umiyut the riba. Riba hakol. Then it includes everything, right? My Rabbi. So what does it include? Rabbi kol mili. It includes everything. So it has to exclude something, right? My miyut. What does it exclude? Miyut shel cheres. You can't make it out of earthenware, but out of gold you can, right? Okay, so basically there's really 4 pshatim in how to learn the machlokes of whether there's what the instruments can. Well, it's really 3 pshatim in the instruments. The instruments can be made out of in the Beis Hamikdash and what they can't. All right, but the main thing that we learn now so far is that Rabbi Yosef holds. We need this for tomorrow. As Hashem, that Rabbi Yosef holds that the machlokes is by the korbanos, but by simplest Beis Hoshoiva, everybody holds you cannot play music. Okay, a good enough. Tomorrow 5:30 Be'ez Hashem. All right. Okay, I'm signing off because I want to chop a ma'ariv and I gotta go to a chassan. So, all right.
Shikaya.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
It's amazing the Yitzhak heart.
Hey, yes.
What?
Hey,
What's up, Aaron?
what you making over there?
You know, I'm in the car now, headed over to Abba's house.
Hey. All right.
What's doing?
Oh, good about you?
Same old. Yakov's still on, huh?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't.
Hey, Mordechai. Where do I hear Mordechai?
Mordechai. I'm in the car with Mordechai. Yeah.
Oh, the Rebbe. How's the Rebbe?
Rebbe's on the phone. He's very, very busy.
This is the first week of Yeshiva, you know what I mean? He's like Kamat the Manal over there.
He had what's it called? He had orientation.
Look at him. Shee, Mordechai.
Let me see if I can try to stop the video.